Yo, 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 what's up? Happy Saturday and welcome back to another episode of the Cookout here on
It's
Certified Gumbo.
Saturday.
Yes, here today. We are going to bring you the review. It's finally here for Zack Snyder's Justice League. We can
Yes.
finally put this behind us. We can finally say that we have seen this thing. And there's a lot to talk about. There's 4 hours worth of content to talk about. And what, 4 years of controversy? For just
Yeah.
about.
I
So
honestly, I watched it yesterday. I watched it today, and I want to watch it again. Like for this to be a 4 hour movie, I would like to watch it again. There was not a moment that I feel like I could just blast through. Like it was all really good. And I don't like comparing films with different franchises, but I how long was Endgame? 3 hours?
3 hours, just about.
Yo, there's a lot of Endgame that I'm blasting through. That I'm fast forward. I'm not interested in watching this. Let me get to the good fights. Let me get to the end.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling that way with this at all. I was happy to sit down and watch the entire 4 hours today. Yesterday, I was watching it while I was working, so I didn't get to pay great attention. Today, I sat down and watched the whole thing, and I literally just needed a couple bathroom breaks. Like I did not stop. I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah. So, man, let me because I think I was probably the most skeptical of the group thus far of this
Mm-hmm.
cut. So I'll start by saying
Mm-hmm.
going into it, I said repeatedly that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think that this movie could be great because it had such an uphill battle. And mind you, I watched last weekend. I did a soft replay of the DCEU thus far. I did not watch Man of Steel or any of the Wonder Woman films, but I did watch. I rewatched Batman vs Superman, Justice League, and Aquaman. And with that in mind, let me put those in order so everyone gets an idea of how I rank those films, including the Wonder Woman films and the ones I didn't watch. After my rewatch, I would say, excluding the Snyder cut because we'll get
Yeah, we
into
didn't.
that.
Oh, okay.
I Wonder Woman one is still number one for me on my list, and then it would be Aquaman number two. Then uh then I would go BVS, then the Whedon cut, and then 84 because I 84 was just that's I could never watch that ever again. Like that was bad. Like that was rough. I think that, and those two are probably interchangeable. They might be tied.
Yeah.
Really, they're at the bottom of the can for sure.
Um, it depends on which version of Batman versus Superman you're talking about because the director's cut, that's
The
on.
director's cut, mind you, because it's on HBO
Yeah.
Max, so I didn't have a choice but to watch that one. And it's also the isn't it both the director's cuts for Batman vs Superman and for Justice League? The Whedon cut of Justice League, the theatrical, or is that the theatrical cut? I'm not sure.
Let's see, I can check right now. But I would say since I've seen Man of Steel recently, I enjoyed Man of Steel. I never had any issues with it, and I would rank it maybe after Aquaman, but that's not a bad thing. It's just
Yeah,
Aquaman was newer and better.
well, yeah, because what did I put? I put it after Aquaman, right? Because I what did I say? I
You
said,
didn't say you didn't include Man of Steel because you haven't
oh,
seen
that's
it.
no, that's my fault. That's my fault. So my fault. I left that out. Wonder Woman, the first one at number one, and then number two is Aquaman. Then number three is Man of Steel. Then it's Batman vs Superman. Then you can put uh, WW84 and the the Whedon cut in the same bottom. They're tied for last place basically.
Um, right now, it just looks like you have Snyder's Justice League, and then you have the 2017 theatrical cut.
So
For
it's not an
yeah, there's
extended.
no.
Okay, cool.
Honestly, that movie was so bad. Did he deserve a director's cut?
It was horrible. That movie is atrocious. And so after rewatching the theatrical cut, the 2017 version of Justice League, I was like, I was still firmly in the belief. I'm like, even if you extend this for 4 hours and give this context, I just did not believe you can make a great movie out of it.
I mean, you're not wrong because this is not an extension of that movie. This is a different
But
movie.
well, yeah, it is and it isn't, because the thing is, this is the perfect example of. And by the way, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. This is a great movie. This is the Zack Snyder Justice League film is, in my opinion, one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Like, I will easily put this up against any of the Avengers movies. Like, easily.
I won't argue that.
Like, easily. Like, I can't. This isn't. It's a. I'm impressed at the 180 flip that this movie did, and it's a testament to the saying that you don't make one movie, you make three. It's the movie that you write, the movie that you shoot, and then the movie that you edit. You can't find a better example of this, because all of the footage that we see, minus the epilogue scene with the Joker and Batman, and the scene at the end with the Joker. No, I mean not the Joker, but Martian Manhunter and Bruce Wayne at the lake house.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only reshoots. Like, those are the only things that they had to shoot in principal photography for the Snyder cut. Everything else that we saw, all the extended scenes, all the extra stuff, was stuff that Zack Snyder shot prior to departing the film. So like, I'm going back to 2016, because originally, if you remember, this movie was supposed to come out in 2016, the Justice League movie. When did Ultron, was that same year Ultron came out?
I can check.
Either way, it was basically in the heat of the incredible Marvel run. It was coming off the success of the first movie, and I think that Ultron had just come out.
Ultron came out in 2015.
Yeah, and also, The Force Awakens had come out as well. So you got all of that going on, and the Justice League was supposed to come out, and the studio and Zack Snyder were having issues. They were going back and forth. They felt that the Snyder cut was too long. It was unwatchable. It was too dark. It was what else? It wasn't lighthearted enough. It didn't have enough levity. They didn't feel like it was the right direction to go, and they wanted a 2.5 hour, 2 hour, 40-minute movie, basically around the same amount of time as the Avengers movies were at that point.
Civil War came out the same year as what was supposed to come out.
In the same year. That's right. And so Zach was trying to argue for, maybe let's break the movie up into two parts, like a part 1 and part 2 of Justice League. That way I can get the full vision of the film out. They were vehemently protesting this idea at Warner Brothers in DC. And then there's the passing of his daughter, Autumn, which he has a nice tribute at the end of the film, of his cut. And the song that's playing, what song is that?
Hallelujah.
That's his daughter's favorite song. I found that out, which is why that was playing at the end. So it's a nice.
The artist was singing it. I actually watched the credits all the way through today, and I mean, she was a cappella at some point. She was doing that. Okay, all her emotions. I felt it through the scene. The only other movie that I could think of that where they performed that song and I feel something is Shrek 2. Okay, that song makes you feel something.
It does. No, it was a great choice. Honestly, it was a great choice of song for the movie. Yeah, but it also perfect. Like, it's a beautiful tribute. Like, it was a great, and so I'm glad that he put that in there. But back to the drama, because we do have to really illustrate for everyone the dramatic behind the scenes stuff that led up to this movie even coming out in the first place.
Before you do that, let me just say the DC universe has always been darker than Marvel.
Yes.
Even Deadpool, who is violent, his films are not dark. Mm-hmm. And I don't think fans have ever had a problem with DC being dark. I would say the only Marvel films that might have been dark were Blade.
Yeah, and it's not even that it's like, it's not dark as in it's depressing. It's dark as in it's more gritty, and it's more like in your face, and
Yes.
it's not. It doesn't pull punches. DC doesn't pull punches. Like it is.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's not trying to be lighthearted and comical in the way that Marvel is. Like Marvel is really lighthearted. Marvel is kind of like, um, well, Zack Snyder, I think he sums it up perfectly. He talks about it as um, it's an action comedy done at the highest level, and I don't think that that's a to me that's not a slight because that's kind of what it is. Like it's the humor lands, it's action, it's got drama, it's executed at the highest level, and that's the MCU. And I don't think that there's any there's no slight there. Like it's a really good description of the MCU, and it works for them because that's the type of characters that they have, those kind of stories that they have. But DC is very different.
Marvel characters can be on the verge of death, and they will still find a way to put a joke in there.
Yeah,
It'll work. No
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Like they even like it was. I think that's a one of the highlights of the MCU is that they find when they do get serious and they do go for drama, it has a greater impact because it's such a departure from what we're used to. um and it's very sad because you get so used to these characters being on screen, you get attached to them, and then like it just makes you don't have to go extra hard on the drama when a character dies because you've become friends with this character in a way. So it's very tragic to see. But nah, but DC is just gritty. Like it's kind of like um it's a it's an action adventure, but it's kind of like more of a true crime or true detective, and not like uh CIS or Hawaii 50 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the difference. It's not like it's going to be you're gonna walk away from one of these properties like don't want to see that unless it's just bad. But like the tone and drama and all that, it's not going to be like that. Um, but yeah, so the studio fights him. His daughter passes, he commits suicide. If you didn't know, um, and so he's like, I'm out. Like I gotta go deal with this. Like I can't deal with the passing of my daughter and all this drama going on behind the scenes with Warner Brothers. Like I don't have the energy for it. I'm out. Just find someone else to do it. Like he cut together this film, the 4 hour cut, basically. No CGI. It was just the principal photography. Like he completely shot it. Warner Brothers looks at it, says it's unwatchable. It's too dark. It doesn't make sense. It People aren't going to like it. And so they hire Josh Whedon, and they announced that they're going to delay the movie until 2017, so that they can do reshoots and edits and rework the script and rework just the film as a whole. So that gets greenlit. Whedon comes in, they rewrite, they go into principal photography on the reshoots. They reshoot 80% of what Zack Snyder shot, cut it together, and 2017 rolls around and we get Justice League, and the fans are like, oh, what is this
Horrible.
hot flaming garbage can of cinema? Like horrible. It was atrocious. Like one of the worst films I've seen in I can't even remember. Like I can't compare it to anything else because it was that bad. And at that point I remember going like, yeah, this is DCEU is dead, because we had Man of Steel, which kind of got a lukewarm reaction, and then Batman v Superman was definitely divisive. Like there were people who absolutely loved Batman vs Superman, and then the other half hated it. The director's cut of BVS though was better. It brought everyone kind of sort of closer to the center, but this is after the fact. So the DCEU got off to a very rocky start, and then the Justice League movie, the Whedon cut, was basically almost the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. So word gets out that there is a Whedon, or not a Whedon cut, but a
Got
Zack Snyder cut of the film that actually exists. It's out there. He has it. I think he says that he has it on a hard drive. Like he saved the film that he shot and all the footage,
I'm
because I
glad.
want to say that he shot like 10 to 12 hours of footage. For I mean, it's a lot of, he shot a lot of footage for it. So it's all out there. It exists out in the world, and people, the fans are like, well, I mean, this movie was so bad. Like, can we at least see what he had in mind? Because he said, no, my movie was completely different, had a different direction, had a different tone, different style, everything. Um, so the hardcore fans were like, yeah, like, let's see this cut, let's see this cut. And Warner Brothers is like, nope, never see the light of day. This is not happening. Like, I don't care how you scream and protest and whatever. We're not going to release his cut of the movie, like, ever. Um, then Wonder Woman 1 comes out, and it's a critical smash hit. It's a success. At the time was the best movie that they had done, which gave fans hope, because it's like, oh, okay, so they can
Make a
get
good
this
movie.
right. Yeah, they can make a good movie. And so that kind of killed momentum a little bit for the.
Wonder Woman came out after Justice League. I
It
thought
came
Wonder
out the
Woman
same year. They came out the same year.
back to back.
Yes,
Gotcha.
came out in the same year. So it kind of killed the hype, because we had the buzz was out there for a minute for the Snyder cut, because everybody was raging after the movie came out. Then Wonder Woman came out, and people were like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And then the buzz kind of died, right? Then AT&T purchases Warner Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and HBO Max comes out. That's one of the big things that happens, and they immediately announced that the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League is going to premiere debut on the streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him a $70 million budget. They said they had looked at it, they looked at the footage, they liked what they had saw, so they approved a $70 million budget for him to finish basically the CGI of the film, of this 4 hour movie. And then they would put it out. Then they started debating, okay, well, it is 4 hours, let's break it up into 4 parts, put a 4 part movie out. But inevitably they chose not to do that. They chose to release the whole thing. But they've got intermissions in this film, 6 parts and an epilogue, which that was the best decision from a time, because it gives you options. Like, either I can watch all of this thing now, like I did, and I think you did as well, or you can stop at each intermission whenever you get exhausted and or need to just come back to it later. You can do
It's
that.
so good. Um I can't stop. Like
Yes.
I can imagine myself being dead tired and watching this movie, and I get to a certain part, and I'm like, no, I can
Yeah.
fight it, and then fall asleep during the movie rather than stop it at a part. It's so good. You can't not watch this movie all the way through.
It's
It's not boring. It keeps you the entire time. Um, it's I mean, it ends similarly to the original film, but there are so many things that are different.
yes.
Joss Whedon took away out my biggest critique now that I've seen both films is that what Joss Whedon does was eliminate any opportunity for sequels. The
Yeah.
Snyder
That's
Cut
a big one.
gives you there's easily 5 different movies or opportunities, different things that they've teased in this one movie, possibly even more that I just haven't caught yet. And Joss Whedon's version got rid of all of that. It's almost like, yo, there's just no opportunity for any of this. So if you want to figure out how you can get his movie from the Snyder Cut, you eliminate Ray Fisher as much as you possibly can.
Yes.
And then you eliminate anything that they said or did that could allude to a future film.
Yeah.
That's how you get the Snyder Cut down to 2 hours or 2 hours and some change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get rid of the black guy as much as possible, his family, all of that, and just get rid of everybody else and maybe the little things they did to hint towards a future film.
Yeah. And one, Ray Fisher Cyborg, my goodness, was this a revelation and a wonderful performance in contrast to what we got in the theatrical cut, because I felt his performance in this movie. Like, he is the heart and soul of this movie. His arc is the heart and soul of this movie. It is why everything is able to come together the way it does. Like,
He
he
is so
gets a
valuable.
backstory. We
Yeah.
understand. Like, they took out the part where we get an understanding that he Victor Stone, the character, he was smart. He was a genius. He was brilliant prior to the accident happening. He was also an athlete. Like, he is like almost the best of both worlds, right? Like, we get his backstory. We understand that this accident didn't make him who he was. He was already that. Like,
Yeah, he
this
was
just
brilliant
enhances who he
before
is.
he got these powers.
Yeah,
The original film didn't tell us that. We just thought he
we
was.
got none of that. We
Yeah,
got none of that. We didn't get the interaction between him and his father, which is so important. Like, we didn't understand like the relationship between the two of them. We didn't understand. There was no context for why. You would think that Bruce Wayne would be the one that would go and talk to Cyborg to get him on the team, but they send Diana instead. But this at least explains why she goes instead of Bruce, because she's the one that's going to be able to empathize with him in that capacity. Like, man, like, I just cannot. It's incredible how stark of a contrast these two movies are. These movies couldn't be more different.
yeah.
Same footage,
We also don't get to
same.
see his mom. That was a huge part too.
Right, they cut her
Like,
completely out of the movie, and then
that one in the original Justice League, it kind of seems like he's ticked off with his dad because his dad did this strange thing to his body that he's uncomfortable with.
right,
You don't
like
know
there's
that his
no
mom
reason.
died and
Yeah,
his dad wasn't there, and it probably wouldn't have happened if his mother was there. Like, that's so important, and you don't know any of that. And I will say the Snyder cut, the Whedon cut keeps the father's brilliance, but we absolutely lose out on who Victor is and the relationship that he had with both of his parents.
yeah. Like,
Uh-oh.
who we got? Somebody
I've
pop
been in the house. Ready?
Hey,
What
you
is
guys hear me?
What's going on? What's going
That's
on?
good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Tell us, how did you feel?
Oh, it was 100 times better than the Whedon cut.
Complete 180.
Yeah.
Complete 180. Like, I can't believe how different these movies are, and using all the same, like, they had all of this footage at their disposal. Like, that's what like was baffling me. The intro. Okay, so let me say, even from the jump, right? I was on the edge of my seat for my first watch through for the entire 4 hours. I never leaned back in my chair. Like, it's rare that I do that for a movie. You know what I'm saying? And in my first watch through, I stopped at 14 minutes and 47 seconds because I was like, with only 14 minutes, having seen only the first 14 minutes, I was like, yo, this is miles better than the first movie. I already knew from that point that this was going to be a great movie. I was shocked. I was stunned, like, at how much better this movie was. The intro, why would you take out the death of Superman? Like, that literally explains why everything is happening.
Yeah,
Like,
it explains the Cube's acting.
right. Like,
And then, like, Sweden one is like he just does a TV interview.
it made no sense. I was like, it was just some like kid with a camera phone that walks up to Superman and asks him a question, and then the last one Superman doesn't even answer, and then next thing you get is Batman beating up some criminal in the alley, and then you see a parademon, and then he starts fighting the parademon, and I'm like, what? Automatically, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's just some random parademon. Then he stops beating up the criminal, and then he looks, and him and the criminal start having a conversation about the parademon. And I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a
It's
name
insane,
for it
man.
then. It was just a monster. We didn't even know what a parademon was at that point.
Yeah, but they still kind of look like putties to me, but that's
the
but
look,
it's still cool.
yeah, it's like I could look past all that because it's like the story just made that much more sense. Like, him going to talk to Aquaman first, and Aquaman actually being more like Arthur Curry than the version that we got in Aquaman and in Justice League for sure. Like they took out the awkward interaction between him and Aquaman in the village where Bruce Wayne, when Aquaman throws him against the wall and he says some joke that was not funny at all. Like took all of that out. Like there's a serious tone. Like Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne the entire time. This is the first time. Like Ben Affleck did not sell me that he was on him being Bruce Wayne in Justice League in the Whedon cut. This is him actually being Bruce Wayne. I actually bought him as Bruce Wayne in this film than I did in the other one. Like sure. Alfred Pennyworth, my goodness, that's also another reason why I bought Affleck as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Well, for me, like I thought Jeremy Irons was like good in both versions, but
he was, but we missed a lot of the important interactions between him and Bruce Wayne in the Whedon cut. Like that whole plane scene with him coming back from the island, and I got to talk about the Aquaman stuff too, because one, I want to save the Cyborg stuff for the end because he's the heart and soul of the movie, and I want to, we'll just save that for the end of this discussion. Because there's a lot to talk about with him on screen and off screen, because we got to get into all of that. But the Aquaman stuff was so much better. And the way the way that Zack Snyder was able to shoot each of these heroes, they didn't feel like heroes. They felt more like gods. And that's more true to the form of DC. Like, these aren't just everyday people walking around doing heroic things. Like, they are above us, like, physically, mentally, like, in every capacity. Like, the whole thing with them, with Aquaman coming up to help these people and feed them during the King's Tide, when no ships can enter this place, like they would starve to death without him. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff. And then you could say that the song and singing that they did at the end, as he's going into the water, is overboard, but I felt like it was justified because it speaks to how much they value him and what he does for them. Like he's the king of the land and the sea, and that's the first time we get to see that. And it's an important thing. It's an important character moment.
The Whedon cut made them weak. There's no better way to describe it. He dumbed them down. As far as I'm concerned, Wonder Woman wasn't there to do anything but pretty and be
my goodness.
Like in this film, you have Alfred. Like, please stop cooking. Let me make the tea for you. In the Snyder cut, it was like, no, like let me do it. And although like we know that he is a butler and that's technically his job, and then he's also English, so tea is his thing. So I saw that too. But the fact that the Whedon cut made Wonder Woman look just so weak, and now in this movie you have a man fighting to keep her out of the kitchen, I thought that was dope.
Yeah, and this is, I will say that the action sequences in this movie these are the best action sequences in any of the DC movies, and I would put them up against any comic book movie, like point blank period. Like, this is some of the best action I've ever seen. And
I like the fact that they actually felt like a team.
Yes.
Yeah, like the team dynamic was there in this one. Like, they just felt so, I don't know what that was in the Whedon cut, like, but they didn't feel like a team at all. It just felt like they were participants.
The scene of Aquaman expressing his sadness for Victor Cyborg losing his dad,
right?
Like, there was no sense of caring or relationship in the Whedon cut. He was genuinely concerned that, I mean, at this point, he's basically a senior in high school. He lost some of his high school time, so I'm assuming he's still a kid who recently lost both of his parents, and now he has to save the world. And Aquaman is like, yo, like, is
anybody going to ask, like, how is this going to affect him? Yeah.
You have, Barry the Flash is like, dang, I didn't even think you cared. And he was like, I didn't say that. Like, I might not want to be here, but I'm still a human being.
Oh, and I love the scene between Aquaman and Flash.
Yes. Giving Big Brother.
Flash was so much better. Flash, I don't know if Ezra Miller is the right person to play Flash, but his performance with this cut and the way it's edited is so much better, and
Yeah.
he actually has purpose in this movie
I
because he
think the
didn't
scene
have one
with
in the Whedon
the
cut.
scene with him and his dad, I think that might have been my favorite scene.
Yeah, and that scene was good in the Whedon cut, but it was even better in this one because you get
You
more
got
of it, like
context and you
way
understand
more of
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
It's just more was better in this instance. You know what I mean?
If
Like
anything, in the Whedon cut, it felt like the only person of value to the team were Batman and Superman. Like you could understand why they were in the Justice League, but in comparing the two movies, you couldn't really see why the other ones were there. And in this film, if anything, I don't know, without Barry Allen, the universe, I mean, the planet might be destroyed.
it would have been
It's
over. Like
that
he was important.
Like,
Exactly.
we said we're gonna save Cyborg later, but he was that important. Like without them, none of this could have happened. And the original film just doesn't give that.
Everybody had a key moment that if you would have removed them, they would have lost. And it was important for all of them to be there at the end in that final act. Even leading up to the final act, like once they are finally united, like, and even before Superman's return, like they have very important moments, and they all have very important character moments. Like all within this film, we get a better understanding of who Aquaman is and what his motivations are and why he's important to the team. Same thing with Wonder Woman, same thing with Flash, especially Cyborg, and Batman and Bruce, like his Batman moments and his Bruce Wayne moments held way more weight in this film than in the Whedon cut, and he felt like Bruce Wayne. Like he didn't feel like some offshoot of Tony Stark, which is what I felt like they were trying to execute in the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
All the weird jokes that they had him and the witty stuff, that's not Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne does not do that. Like if anyone is witty, it's actually Superman. Like between the two of them, Superman has he's more witty. Like Batman, Bruce Wayne's straightforward. Like he's very dry, bland, and gets straight to the point, which is what he does in this film. And the scene where they're debating on whether or not to bring Superman back is way different in this movie than in the Whedon cut, and it makes way more sense because in the Whedon cut they were trying him. It was only Batman and Wonder Woman arguing whether or not they should bring Superman back, and then Bruce Wayne makes some offshoot comment about what's Wonder Woman's what was her love interest?
Oh, Chris Pines. I forget his
I
character's
don't remember
name.
the character's name.
Chris, yeah. So he makes some comment about him, and she like gets mad and leaves. And I'm like, why did he even say that? Like completely unnecessary. But in this cut, they're all debating on whether or not it's the right thing to do to bring Superman back. But they end up coming to the conclusion that Steppenwolf is the strongest being any of them have ever faced, and like they don't think that they can win without Superman being there. Like it's just not possible. And so
Steppenwolf couldn't even touch Superman.
Right. Like and you see that like it once again very important to see. And I'm just like, why would they take any of this out? This was so important to the story. Like we needed to know all of this stuff. Like I didn't see anything in there in the Whedon cut, in the Snyder cut, that I felt was redundant or didn't need to be there. Maybe the Iris West scene could have been done differently, but it's still
that could have
good.
been better executed, but it's still
Which
cool.
scene?
The Iris
The
scene
car accident with
with
Iris
Iris
West, with Flash and Iris
Flash.
West.
Oh, okay.
That's probably the only scene that I feel like probably could have done differently, but I wouldn't have taken it out. I would have done something else maybe with it, but I'm okay with it. Like I'm good. Like it didn't take me out of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even more frustrating because they like try to pretend like this version didn't exist.
Exactly.
3
like
years.
they tried to bury this.
If anything, I now have a problem with the Aquaman film after watching this because the first Justice League was so bad that Aquaman was like, oh, this is great. But now I don't know if I like the tone of Aquaman after watching this movie. Like, imagine, although I also wonder if this movie got to come out and, you know, Joss Whedon was still involved, if maybe the Aquaman movie, the tone would have been different. It would have been better. I would say that the Aquaman film was not dark at all. It was a lot lighter. And I don't know.
It was dark in comparison to that Whedon cut.
Yeah. but I don't think Aquaman is bad in any way. I think this Aquaman is better, and I wish we could have seen that in his film, but hopefully we can see that in Aquaman too.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100% on that, because I rewatched Aquaman last weekend, and that was top 2 for me of the films thus far. And then, but after seeing this version of Aquaman, I'm like, yo, I really wish we would have had this tone.
Yeah, he does feel like a different Aquaman in his movie for some reason.
Yeah, like the tone is completely different, because they, once again, them trying to bury this version of the Justice League, they forced all of the other directors to go in more of the Whedon direction instead of the Snyder direction, and it is an everlasting mistake. Like, I put this
Wonder Woman 84 is proof of that.
Exactly.
I now blame Wonder Woman 1984 on Joss Whedon. Like, that film is his fault.
Yeah, Joss Whedon and what's his name, Jeff Johns. They have a lot to answer for.
Yeah,
for sure. Because this makes absolutely no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. And see, Jeff Johns is the one who keeps green lighting all of these horrible CW shows that, like, just they're awful. Like, why? Like the tone and the cookie cutter story writing and basically putting everyone into this same type of arc for all of the characters. Like, it's so stupid, and it's like you lose interest after a couple episodes because you just know how this story is going to unfold. This was such a breath of fresh air, and it was clearly the right direction for DC to go, because it is the opposite side of the coin in comparison to Marvel. And if they want to compete with Marvel, this has to be the tone and style that they have to run with, because you see the clear-cut difference between the two properties, but you can respect both of them for what they are. I can't compare the Whedon cut to any of the Marvel films because they don't match. Like, they're not the same. This is an apple to orange comparison. Like, the only thing you can say is that they're both fruit. The only thing you can say is that they're both comic book movies, but that's it. Like, style is different, tone is different, the pacing is different. The pacing was marvelous, by the way, for a 4-hour movie. The pacing,
it didn't feel like 4 hours. It felt like it's just a 3 hour, like a normal.
It was an epic. Yeah. It was an epic. And you know, in interviews, I keep saying Josh, not Josh. Zack Snyder has said repeatedly that the DCEU that he wanted to create, he wanted it to feel mythic and to feel like an epic. And this is exactly what this felt like. And it's the right tone and direction for DC.
No, for me at all. You can see it. And my concern is that, if AT&T approved the Snyder Cut, I would hope that they would see how great this film is, and they would see the reception of this film, and that they would allow him to come back and continue the Snyderverse. I mean, if I knew I was going to get a Wonder Woman film, an Aquaman film, maybe even a Cyborg film, definitely a Flashpoint that comes from this movie. We're definitely going to see, the fall of Superman at some point because of this film that's teased. I want to see those films. I need to see those films.
Yeah, and that also is what rekindled the fire for this cut to be released, because there was an interview, I want to say in like 2018, 2019, with Zack Snyder talking about his planned sequels for his version of Justice League, and how there was like this doomsday arc for the sequel, where we get Darkseid and the corruption of Superman and all of that, and then like the third film, and I can't remember what that is, but and you see how it's all seeded in this movie because a lot of it is in the epilogue. They just how he was setting up this universe. Like this is a foundational piece. Like they say that the Wonder Woman, I mean not Wonder Woman, but WandaVision was like a foundational show for the Phase 4. This is how you set a foundation, because this set up everything. Like you can clearly see how all of this would have turned out had they continued with this story and with this narrative. And they should, because I put it in the Discord, like if this Snyderverse isn't the foundation of DC going forward, I'm really not interested. Like I thought that the Batman film looked cool, but if I had to compare what I saw to this, like it pales in comparison.
This is easily, like you said, the best film in the DCE right now, and
not even close.
At this point, if Warner Brothers decides that they still, because when he started to finish the Snyder Cut, they told him that the theatrical cut, Whedon's version, was going to be canon. They were going to continue to move forward and build on that. But after 1984 was horrible, and now that we've seen this version, if they decide that they're not going to go forward with the Snyderverse, then it's just out of pettiness, and they're choosing violence. They're choosing to make less money.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to make money regardless, but it's not going to be as much, and it's not going to be as good.
Yeah, I mean, that's really killed the hype and moment. To me, this movie is the nail in the coffin for the Whedonverse, because that, like, who wants to see anything of that continue when you have this and you have what they set up and you've got this version of Wonder Woman. Like, this is her, these are her best action sequences. She has her best character moments in this movie. Like, yeah, the Wonder Woman 1 movie was good, but it's not like this. Like, she felt
this one
powerful.
She won't get defeated by Win.
Her cuffs are also, this is the best we've seen them.
The 84 one, when she, like, I don't know if you remember, Monty, but at the end of 84, she, like, all the witches came in, and then she, like, got defeated by Win. Like, she couldn't.
I don't recall, but I do believe you.
Oh man,
I'm not going to argue that movie is terrible. I'm sure the Win knocked her out.
Something else I got to talk about too is the Amazons, because the Amazons were great in this one.
They
were phenomenal. And the one thing that I remember, I said this out loud. I live by myself, and I said this out loud when I was watching this scene. But when the mother box started to wake up and Hippolyta came in, and they were discussing, like, and it goes quiet, and then Steppenwolf comes down, and he's saying that whole thing about the defenders are here, 100,000 worlds, they've all failed, this world would be no different, or I guess that's what he said. I think I might be paraphrasing, I might have just rewrote that quote, but Hippolyta, she responds and says, Amazons, show him your fear. And then they all yell, we have no fear. And they just open fire. I was like, why would you take that out? Why? Yeah. Why take that out? That was brilliant. Like, I got chills. But I remember I yelled. I was like, yo, why would you take this out? I said that out loud. I remember that. Like, that's crazy. Blowing my mind.
If anything, the Amazons were so strong and just on point that when we got to Atlantis, I was like, this all y'all got?
Right.
That's all y'all got? Because the Amazons are blowing you out of the water.
Exactly. Like, it wasn't even, you saw the power of the Amazons for the first time, like, in my opinion, in this movie. Another thing was the battle with the old gods, the humans, the
Amazons, was Zeus,
and
and
this was miles better, and that was my favorite part of the Justice League movie, was that one scene. And this makes that scene even better, because one, you get an explanation for why Wonder Woman knew that in the first place, because she has to go into the temple of the Amazons, go underneath. She puts the arrow in, and she sees the whole history of this battle on the cave walls.
That was cool. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then now with this information, she goes back to Bruce Wayne and she tells him the story of this great battle and how Darkseid was the one, not Steppenwolf, but Darkseid was the one that came to Earth. He found the anti-life equation and he meant to conquer the world, but all the gods and the Green Lantern Corps and the Amazons and the Atlanteans and humans. Yeah, you get this whole mythology, right? Back to him creating this mythic of DC, of the DCEU, which is clearly the right direction because it felt wonderful. Like, it was just so cool to watch, man. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this movie.
Yeah. For me, it's like when I saw Darkseid, like, Omega Beams, I was like, it was only for 2 seconds, but still, it's like, I finally got to see that live action.
Am I the only one who was bothered by how Desaad was talking to him in this movie? I was like, yo, so you're not going to get punched at all? Like, he's just going to let you talk to him? Like, when Desaad said to Darkseid, I told you that Steppenwolf was able to do it. I was like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess whatever their relationship is, they must be tight.
Darkseid is going to be like, yo, I'm sick and tired of your ish. You got one more time to say something. And he's going to say something, and Darkseid's going to take him out. I'm ready for that.
All right, let's talk about this Cyborg stuff. If y'all are ready to talk about Cyborg, or we could wait because what JPM said he was getting on around 9. We got a couple minutes to kill. If y'all got anything else you want to add? You try to give him some time to.
Somebody send him a message just to make sure he's coming through. But I would say, without talking about Ray Fisher, we know that he was not the only person who had a bad experience with Joss Whedon. We know that everyone involved with Buffy the Vampire Slayer didn't like him. We know that Ben Affleck had an issue with him, and that's why he no longer wants to be a part of Batman, because he didn't like Joss Whedon. After seeing both versions, there's no way on earth that Gal Gadot does not have a Joss Whedon story. Like, absolutely, I'm upset for her to go from the version that we got to see on Thursday, where she is empowered, she's strong, she is easily probably top 2 or top 3 as far as the strongest. I would put her after Superman as for who's stronger than her in Justice League. Then to get reduced to having Barry Allen fall on her with his face in her chest, and like, how do you
go? And then like the awkward, the
awkward cuts and just images of her body in that film. There's no way that, well, one, she's probably happy this version came out, but there's just no way that she doesn't have a story. I'm sorry.
100% agree, because it's all of the awkward interactions and the way that he shoots her. It's like he intentionally tried to just make her eye candy in the movie instead of making her Wonder Woman. Like, it's clear that that was his
like
intent.
a Michael Bay move,
right? Like,
yeah, like the whole scene in the Whedon cut with Aquaman accidentally sitting on the lasso of truth, and he's just going on and on about how good she looks and how beautiful she is and how he's just happy to be around her.
It's like,
to know that whole scene was Joss Whedon.
It was a reshoot. Now, to that point though, like, imagine all of these actors having to come back to reshoot, and these are the scenes that they have to reshoot. Like, she has to come in and literally let Ezra Miller fall on her breast. Like, why? Like, that is insane. I can see, and then all the reshoots with Batman and all the stuff that he added to Batman. I see why Ben Affleck started drinking.
He looked like, you can tell because he looked like he didn't want to be in the movie.
Yeah, like he hated it. Like, I can, and the Ray Fisher stuff, especially, like, he eliminated him from this movie in his cut. He wasn't even you would have no idea how important he was to the movie if you just watched the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I believe what the accusations that Ray Fisher has made about his experience with Joss Whedon and the Warner Brothers team during the reshoots. He put that statement out a couple months ago. I believed him when he put it out, and as far as I'm concerned, with the release of this Zack Snyder cut, validates everything that he says. Didn't need any validation on my behalf. Like, I believed what he said happened, but you can't. If you look at this movie, I don't see how you need further proof that what transpired behind the scenes in his account is accurate. Because
did he even go back in for reshoots? If he did, they were minimal.
Yeah, it was because
it looked like he just cut out a lot of what he did, and there weren't too many things that were in. There weren't too many scenes that were in the Whedon cut of him that weren't in the Snyder cut.
He changed the scene when him and Wonder Woman meet for the first time.
Yes,
that whole conversation is different. He added these unnecessary jokes to Cyborg that he had to come in and recite that none of them were funny. The thing when they were digging up
the fifth thing?
Superman. Yeah, the whole that whole scene they had to that was a reshoot. The end scene with the explosion, because when he and Superman in the Whedon cut pull apart the mother boxes, there's an explosion and they fall on their backs, and then they just start laughing, and so they had to come in and reshoot that in comparison to the end that we got in this movie. Like, yeah. And so for his story to go from what Whedon's vision, for Snyder's vision was to Whedon's vision, yeah, this is a complete slap in the face and for all parties involved, because he fundamentally changed every aspect of each of these characters for the worse. Just to,
he might just be a Disney mode too.
But maybe. I mean, the Age of Ultron was the worst of the Avengers movies,
and it's still not a bad movie. It's just not.
Yeah, guess what I'm saying. Like like I said, he and Josh Whedon and Jeff Johns have a lot to answer for, as far as I'm concerned, because there's just no reason why this movie should not have seen the light of day back in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, it shouldn't have taken 4 years either.
No.
I wonder, all of the people who critiqued Ray Fisher harshly, especially other YouTubers, had really nasty things to say about him. I saw YouTube saying that he should just shut up and act, which sounded a lot like shut up and dribble. That he's going to kill his career by talking this way and saying these things. And now we've gotten to see the Snyder cut, and we see what could have been. And now that we're comparing this to what we received, I don't understand how you can. I mean, I believed him from the jump, but even if you didn't, I don't understand how you can see that and not be bothered now. Right. So I'm wondering how those people are what they're thinking right now, because they had a lot of nasty things to say about Ray Fisher publicly, and now that we've seen, what was originally intended, he is completely justified in feeling that way. He was justified before we saw it, but now we know why he was justified, and I don't like that.
And more to that point, I mean, the Whedon cut really killed his career. Like, if you were to base the quality of his acting off of that performance that he was basically forced to deliver in that Whedon cut, I mean, what other projects has he had since? This is a completely different movie. I mean, this performance was heartfelt. Like, he did great in this performance. Like, and for the fact that they had to sit on this footage of this amazing performance for 4 years, all because they didn't want to go with Zack's vision. So you killed an actor's career in the process, or tried to kill his career in the process. Is like,
Ray Fisher has no other movie credits than DC film. Like, they have a whole bunch of future films that haven't come out yet, but I don't see anything other than DC related.
So this was his first feature film?
Yeah.
That's that word.
Yeah, the Whedon. Yeah, that
He was on True Detective, the show.
for what, a couple
What?
episodes, but that's not a big. That's not like that's his. This is his big
This was
screen
big,
debut.
yeah. And this,
To go from this version, from this Snyder version of Cyborg and the performance that he delivered with this version to the Whedon version, effectively killed his career.
yeah. And I can only imagine what was
Stunted
said
it at
about
least for
him
4 years.
behind closed doors to make sure that he didn't work again either.
They
Because for him to
absolutely
have
blackballed.
nothing, they blackballed him before the movie even came out, before the original one came out, I'm sure.
Well, look how they've tried to slander him since he put out that statement about how he was treated back in what, June, July of last year. Like, there's been nothing but slander about him and his credibility and like all of that stuff. So like, yeah, they've tried their hardest to sabotage his career, and so thank God that they allowed the Snyder Cut to be released, because this is vindication for him, at least for his career. Because I don't see why anyone wouldn't want to hire him now, having seen this performance. Because if the only thing I had to base it off of was, his performance from the Whedon cut, and that was because that's really his only big screen credit, like, that's a hard sell. But this is way different. Like, this is a great performance, like very heartfelt, wonderfully delivered, passionate. I empathized with his character. I understood where he was coming from. I understood the dynamic between him and his father. His relationship with his mother was very important. Like, all of that stuff. Like, you took all of that out. You took everything that essentially made his character valuable and important and integral to the story. You removed it and just basically left a shell, and then that's what we had to gauge his performance off of, which is atrocious. Not on his part, but on their behalf. It's crazy.
Bad. And I hope they know they look bad, and that now that this version is out, there's really, like, I mean, my opinion isn't much as far as Hollywood goes. If anything, it's absolutely nothing. But I would hope that people who are decision makers and can actually give Ray Fisher roles, see what he said about DC, and then see these two films and understand that he was wrong here.
Yeah.
Sure. I hope that we get to see him in more things, and knowing now, because I didn't know that he wasn't getting work. Seeing now that he got no work after that, I'm sorry, but I would be pissed too. I would be writing a whole bunch of stories too, and I wouldn't stop writing. Actually, one of the guy that I was referencing who said "shut up and act," he can't act anyway. No one is hiring him. So what is there to do? And it's not because he wrote this letter. He wasn't getting work beforehand. So yeah,
man, that's ooh. Like,
I'm feeling
I know he's breathing a sigh of relief, because even if this whole Warner Brothers situation isn't resolved and he doesn't he can't return as Cyborg, or doesn't want to return to Cyborg, he should have some jobs lined up within the next few months. I wouldn't be surprised if a month or 2 to 3 months from now we hear that he's been cast in an upcoming project for someone. But
I want him in season 2 of Lovecraft Country.
Something. Give him some jobs. Like, give him something, because he deserves it. He deserves it.
I want to see him in more action stuff. I want to see him in some dramas, because clearly he knows how to give drama. I want to see him in Black stories. I'd like to see him everywhere. Also, the Snyder haircut budget was on one, because his hairline was crispy. That's the first thing I noticed when I saw him.
It was me. It also felt like he had like a lot of makeup on.
I think it, on his face, because I think they were trying to. I think it's the 5 o'clock shadow. Because I did notice it seemed like he had a lot more makeup on his face. Because he is supposed to be like, what, 18, 19?
Yeah.
Years old.
So
2 years out of high school, I guess,
yeah, because he played for GCU. That's Gotham City University, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking he was a rookie quarterback for them.
I'm
Definitely some Cam Newton inspiration for sure in those scenes.
He has
It's like,
gray
I
hair.
swear
How
to
old
you,
is he?
I don't know.
I don't know
He's,
either.
I thought he was relatively young.
He's 33. That's why he has so much makeup on.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, 33 trying to play an 18, 19-year-old. So that
They
makes
always
sense.
do that though for some reason.
Also, his skin is unnecessarily gorgeous. So for him to have makeup on, like I'm looking at his face now, his skin is so smooth, it looks like makeup anyway.
Right. Yo,
Like I need his esthetician.
this reminds me too of looking, because now in hindsight, having seen this movie, and I'm thinking back on the press circuit that they did for the Whedon cut, like with the cast, like because they went to Comic-Con, they went to a bunch of conventions and did press and interviewed and talked about the movie. Those are some of the most awkward interactions I've seen from a cast like ever. Like they were trying to be as excited as they could be for this movie, and it just was not coming across. Like,
I'll have to go back and watch those.
Yeah, go back and watch it, because like, go back and think about how they knew that all this footage existed, and that because they'd already seen the cut by this point, they knew what was going to hit theaters, so they knew what the people were going to see, and they had to pretend like this was great. And they had to sell people on this movie, and them knowing that they had so much better work and had done way better performances, in the story that was intended was way better than what people were going to see on screen. Them having that knowledge in the back of mind while they're doing these press junkets makes why their interactions were so awkward makes sense. Uh-oh.
It's the glasses for me.
It's the glasses.
It's the glasses.
It's the glasses for me.
It's the glasses for me. What's going on?
What's
JBM
up?
in
Man,
the
I've been
building.
working all day. But we live right now.
We live.
What's up?
Glasses
What's up,
got
family?
5%.
You know, this is symbolism right here. These shades. You know,
Uh-oh.
I felt like this was symbolism
Uh-huh.
for all the shade DC threw at this Snyder cut, fam. Like, what's up?
I'm screaming.
I had to pop the shade blockers on, man.
JBM in the building. Hey man, so we just talked about Ray Fisher's performance and how
Amazing.
wonderful
So
the job.
chill bumps.
What are your thoughts? We want to hear your thoughts on Ray Fisher's performance as Cyborg, and then we'll get into how you felt about the rest of the movie.
Yeah, Ray Fisher's performance was outstanding. Like, never broke character. I was watching him in every scene. I was like, man, I feel every piece of this right now.
Yeah,
Every piece. I understand the character so much better now too. Like, this Snyder cut was completely different from the theatrical release.
yeah,
Completely different. Like, I put it up there with Infinity War and Endgame.
and it's
For
the
me.
same story, same plot.
Yeah,
But
just told differently.
oh, context is so important.
Yes, yes,
Like editing, context, writing, just
yes.
understanding the characters, not only for the
Absolutely.
viewers' benefit, but the director understanding these characters and how they should be portrayed on screen and what will work and what won't. So important.
Exactly. Yeah, I was
So
watching the movie and like I understood what was happening. I remember watching the original cut and was like, "What? Why are we like? Why are we here right now? And what is this fight scene about? What is happening?"
What's going on?
And watching this, I'm like, "Yeah, I understand every move."
Yeah.
It-
And I said at the top, like, you know, them removing that the death of Superman from Batman vs Superman, them removing that opening, that intro from the theatrical cut was a huge mistake because it set up everything for the movie.
That was a
It
great way
gave
to open the
validation
movie.
and justification for why the mother box is activated and why this entire invasion happened in the first place.
Yeah,
The
I've
death
got a
of
theory.
Superman being heard around the world and throughout the universe and galaxy was basically like, oh,
Isn't that wild though?
it's
That's so
open.
wild.
Earth is open house.
Earth
It's
is
open
open.
season.
They
Open
weak out
season.
here.
And they
Open
came.
season
They
on
was
Earth.
like, "Yo, we ready for this smoke."
Exactly.
I've got a theory though on why the Whedon cut happened and why they were shutting down the Snyder cut. This is my
Speak on
theory.
it.
I feel like Marvel and Disney, they were on like some corporate sabotage strategy, and they've got a mole with DC, maybe more than one, whose sole goal is to just cause chaos and destruction. That's my theory.
Yo, you know what they call Kevin Feige.
That's my theory. I'm sticking to it, man.
What they
Nothing
call-
else makes sense.
You know why that validates your theory, because you know what they call Kevin Feige over
What
at
they-
Marvel.
What they call him?
Is White Suge.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Because I have also heard that he does have people, he knows people over at DC in the DCEU and
I'm
at Warner
telling you,
Brothers
man.
that
Corporate sabotage. There's no. Why else would you keep this film? Like, why would you try to keep it from releasing? Why would you let Whedon do what he did to the movie?
now I will say
It don't make sense.
the only counter argument, possibly not a justification, but the only counter is that to Warner Brothers credit, Zack Snyder was hit and miss, because Man of Steel kind of got a lukewarm reaction, and
it
BVS,
was okay.
that theatrical cut, it was divisive for a lot
Yeah,
of
only
fans.
like the first 20 minutes of Man of Steel.
BVS. Yeah, I wonder how much of BVS Zack Snyder was responsible for. Like, was he responsible for casting Lex Luthor? Was that his?
Oh,
decision?
I have no idea.
I have
that was a major
I
part
had
in that
no
movie,
idea.
because that cast was Lex Luthor was not whoever played, what's his name, Eisenberg.
Jesse
Jesse
Eisenberg.
I agree. I didn't understand.
I don't understand why he wasn't the Riddler. Like I to this day I don't understand, because
Yeah.
if he were the Riddler,
came
like
on
he
the
makes sense
project.
as a Riddler.
He's
Yeah,
very
he came on the project prepared to play the Riddler. Like,
Clearly.
that's why he was like that as Lex
Clearly.
Luthor. He had trained as the Riddler.
I told JBM like Adam Driver was supposed to be Lex, but he took Kylo Ren role.
Boy, did he
Ben
make
Stiller.
a bad decision. Well, monetarily wise, he didn't, but
I don't,
maybe he would have
I
been a
don't know
good
if I
Lex.
would have
I
liked
don't know.
this Lex Luthor either.
I
So,
don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
don't know
That's
To
the
me,
idea.
like
Because like I'm thinking about the scene when he's on the Star Destroyer and just swinging the lightsaber against the electrical components. I'm like, that's not Lex Luthor. Like, because he'd have, Lex is way more composed than that. Like,
Who would be a good Lex? Because I feel like Lex Luthor is like a savant.
I think it's just a combination of
Jeff
he's a
Bezos.
real life. No, he's a real life Lex.
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci. Hey, you might be on
That's not what
the
I
sober money. Stanley Tucci might be a Lex.
Tucci.
Hey,
oh
I
man,
don't
dig
know.
that.
I like the guy from Kick-Ass, the father, the mob
Nicolas
boss.
Cage.
No, not Nicolas Cage. The mob boss father.
Let me
Red
just,
Mist's father.
I forget who that was.
I can't remember who that.
I just
have to
remember Nicolas
watch that movie.
Cage screaming when he got set to fire.
Oh yeah, Big Daddy. That's not the real. Well, Big Daddy in the comic, he was actually like a
this
nutcase.
dude. Yes.
You know what?
Can we bring him up? Or
Here. I got a lot of lights and stuff.
yeah, that guy could be Lex. Yeah, that guy could definitely be a Lex Luthor.
He was in Hitman. He was like their supporting guy in the office. Who
Yeah,
died
man.
in
Lex
Hitman.
Luthor's supposed to be
Hitman.
like smooth, like
Yeah, I think Gene Hammond he got him pretty almost there. I just don't like the whole real estate scam stuff.
Okay, hear me out. Detective Stabler from Law and Order SVU.
I have no idea.
Oh, you have no idea who that is, or you can't see the video.
Both.
Who did you say? I missed it.
Detective Stabler from Law and Order SVU.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Oh, that's not the,
I got
like,
my
the,
pick.
Oh,
the
I
hard
got my
head
pick.
dude, is it? The
You
muscle
talking about
head
the guy
dude?
with the Caesar buzz cut?
Yeah, with the nose.
With the nose.
Don't mind me. I'm just talking.
My fan casting for Lex Luthor would be James Spader.
No.
Oh, Ultron?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Look at his nose.
No,
Like-
nah.
It's a regular
From-
nose.
Him in the Blacklist?
I can't. No, he's Ultron
James
though. Like
Spader
every
is
time,
Lex.
Yes.
He not. Nah, man.
that's Ultron.
Yeah. James
He's got
Spader.
the charisma to be Lex. Like, you need someone with charisma and like, because someone you could be convinced is smart enough to outwit and outsmart both Batman and Superman.
Well, the problem was like you got to find someone who can like when you see Lex on screen, you want to root for him.
The guy who played
Yeah.
the Kingpin in it's crazy that he would play those roles.
He would be
Vincent
great
D'Onofrio?
in any
Yeah,
role, but
yeah.
I don't know if
That's a good
like he would have been a good Lex too.
No,
Like
he's
Vincent,
not. He's perfect at Kingpin. Like that's.
yeah, I would
That's
say
like-
yeah, perfect Kingpin. He's got the size,
But Lex, yeah, that's.
the presence. all
I
that,
say you have
but
to find someone with the charisma with Gene Hackman, but also.
I mean, Gene Hackman charisma. That's a level. Amani had it good though. What was his name, Amani? That actor?
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci.
See, I don't
Or
think
maybe
he doesn't
somebody
look.
that's a tad bit harder than.
Yeah, he's
Stanley.
not threatening
'Cause
though.
he's
Life
got
in
a-
Numbers. You see the Vision, Life in Numbers. I know I'm not
I see-
crazy. I see him with the
I
bald
see the
head
Vision.
and a
Yeah.
suit with a turtleneck on. I see it.
But is he as threatening as a Lex Luthor though? That's the thing.
Or
Can
the
he was scary on the show when he was drinking. So if he
What
could do
show?
that, he could do this. But y'all don't
or
like it.
the guy from the Mummy.
what?
Well, he's probably
The-
too old now. Brendan Fraser, the Mummy.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Brendan Fraser.
Not
I don't know about
Brendan
that one.
Fraser, the guy that played the Mummy.
Oh, that.
Oh, what's his
I feel like it's just because he has a bald head.
Oh yeah, there you go. He's
I'm
been
not seeing it.
exposed by kryptonite.
He's definitely
Oh man.
Arnold Vosloo. I've never known his name.
But
I was gonna say,
He is older though.
yeah.
in this
Or they
Justice
could just
League
get the
cut-
guy from Smallville. I always liked him. I don't know his name though.
Who is that?
Hey, what's my man from the Peaky Blinders?
Which
Sicily,
Ooh.
Cecil something, Sicily or something like that. That's his name.
There's a bald head dude in Cleveland.
Wasn't he? Wasn't he?
The main character.
Yeah, his name's Cecily or something like that.
Oh,
Wasn't
Killian
he-
Murphy.
Yeah.
He's
Wow, I was
Scarecrow.
way off.
What's the first Batman movie in the Nolan? Batman Begins. Wasn't he in Batman Begins?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a
Scarecrow.
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 But that's
There's
not
no
part
way
of the
he
same
could be
universe.
What?
It's
No,
You
not-
don't really think? He,
I
Yeah,
was just
it's
saying
not.
that,
It's not a part. They could recast him because he's not part of that. The DCU
he would be great. But we're sitting here fan casting a character that's already cast. That's not going to change
Yeah.
no matter what we do.
Nah, that has to change. I'm sorry. Like they gotta. It's not.
Captain's
gonna work.
log says Michael Rosenbaum. Who is that?
Michael Rosenbaum.
To the database.
Was he? Yeah. Michael Rosenbaum.
Michael Rosenbaum.
I don't know who this
That name
man
is-
is.
Oh yeah, that's the guy from Smallville.
Smallville.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know his name, but yeah, I like
yeah.
his Lex.
I'm not familiar, so I
No,
can't
he's in
comment.
Smallville. He's the Lex in Smallville.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I didn't know his
Oh,
name. I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
his name
Oh,
I'm
okay.
No.
because I know I don't. He might not want to because I think he talked about like he doesn't ever want to shave his head again because he did it for like
He looks
11
like
seasons.
y'all ever see that movie Splice?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man.
That's a good representation of Lex.
Oh man.
I don't like.
Okay.
I understand why he don't want to shave his hair. I don't like. it.
Oh, not spliced. Oh, that
It's
gosh.
very-
Oh, you put that in. I just ruined it for me.
So what did I miss about what y'all covered with Justice League so far?
Real quick, JBM, to support your White Shug theory, the
Why
Age
you
of Ultron came out in
taking-
2015, so they easily could have seen how Joss Whedon performed and Kevin Feige when they knew that Zack Snyder had to leave the project because of the passing of his child.
Yeah.
He could have easily like, yo, take Joss Whedon. We don't need him.
Wow. That might, you know what? That might be something because Age of Ultron was like my least favorite Avengers movie.
Well, also that's a difference between the two because it's my least favorite, but I never thought it was bad. but Marvel is so clear on where the future of the films go that new directors coming in can't create their own stories. Like, this is what needs to happen in your film. You have some creative freedom, but not much, because we are planning things 10 years in advance. Your film is going to set up something that's going to happen 8 films from now, so you can't change much. And that's what Patty Jenkins didn't. There was a movie, maybe it was Age of Ultron, I'm not sure which film, but she was originally supposed to be involved with the Marvel project, and she dropped out because she wanted creative freedom, and they told her no. So
is that the woman that did 1984?
Yes, and DC gave them creative freedom, so that might be what happens. Why Age of Ultron, it's the worst Avengers movie because of Joss Whedon, but it's not a bad movie because Marvel, they have their stuff set in stone. Like this, that have to happen in your movie.
Like I said,
White
Suge don't play that.
Yeah,
I mean, when I watched Age of Ultron for the first time, I was like, not really impressed. And then I watched it this year again. I liked it more this time than I did when it first released.
It's better now that we have WandaVision.
Well, I think that's like one of my favorite scenes. Like
I could see that, with all that context. Yeah.
Vision and Ultron talking at the end.
Well, yeah, because in light of it, you get more perspective and context for their relationship between Wanda and Vision. It's really established in that. Yeah. If anything, WandaVision should have just been set up as a sequel to Age of Ultron, and then just left it at that.
Yeah, this Justice League cut, man. I love Wonder Woman scenes. I love the different action sequences. I love Cyborg's backstory.
It was incredible. His backstory was incredible. Story.
I like the Flash, like that scene with the Flash when he went back in time. I got chills watching that.
Me too. Chills, straight up. We hadn't actually talked about that.
That was so cool. Like it was cool.
Yeah, the visual effects of Superman and Cyborg, like going from bone to flesh.
Yes.
Like, yo, wow.
I swear that's something.
What did he say in that moment? It was like a defining Flash scene, and he was saying something that was really heavy.
You know, my mom.
He was talking about his dad, and like, because remember the last conversation up to that point that he had with his father was telling him that like, basically you like one of the smartest people in the world. Like you got to be somebody. Like I want you to be the best of the best. And he was like, and so basically that was him just putting it basically into the universe as he's putting the universe back together. Like I am one of the best. I'm one of the best of the best in the world. It was like, it was great.
He said something about long hair or something.
Yeah.
Make your own future. Yeah. He did say that.
All that. It was beautiful.
That was tough. And then it followed up with Cyborg saying he wasn't broken. Oh.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Right.
I'm not broken. Then
he took that out.
Parents.
Oh, that's crazy.
He took his whole mom out. Anything involving his mom was going.
Hey, matter of fact, speaking of that moment when we introduced to the mom, like she's in the dean's office or whoever, the provost, whoever that is, and he says Miss Stone and she says Dr. Stone, like corrects him instantly.
Exactly.
Like, big intro. I was like, yes.
And then how she
put some respect on her name.
My son had to hack your system to help his friend whose family lost their home. How do you expect her to be successful? And then the principal just sitting there like,
And then no. She said, what did you do to help her?
Exactly.
I'm like, ooh, fan.
Yeah. I like how we got a better understanding of Cyborg's abilities too. Like, he's like a Iron Man 2.0. Basically,
nah, he's better than that. He's better than Iron Man.
He has more morals than Iron Man.
He's like
a computer.
Yeah,
like a Ultron almost.
Yes, Ultron is a better comparison, or Vision.
Yeah. I would say Ultron. Because Ultron was able to manipulate data the same way Cyborg can. He was robotic.
Yeah.
And
The only thing I wish
Cyborg
his
is
suit, I
also
just wish it would be like more like practical. Just a little bit more practical.
Oh, his
what?
suit. I didn't like
Yeah.
the.
Like
So
I
just
think
the
they
top.
should have made the helmet practical, and then the rest of it could have been
They could have
CG.
done like the chest part, how they
What
did
do
with
you
Tony. Like, cause Tony, like the top part of the Iron Man suit was like practical, but his everything else was like CG.
Ray Fisher, Cyborg?
No, no, I'm saying they should have like with Cyborg, like the part of the suit should have been like practical, and then other parts should have been CGI.
Like more like
practical
tissue,
effects while
like human
filming, so it
tissue.
could have been like a piece of him rather than it all looked really fake on camera because it was
Yeah.
all CGI
Oh,
instead of being like a
I
chest
see.
that he wore during filming.
Yeah, it did. Like the only human part was like 40% of his face, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
And
crazy.
that's
I
crazy. But
mean,
doesn't Cyborg have like a little bit more than that?
Yeah, that's what it showed, right? So that was
But in the movie, it looks like he's this
You
only
got
this
rid.
human, and that's not true.
that's another testament to Ray Fisher. Like he had 40% of his face, but you felt every piece of emotion
Hmm.
he was carrying. I was like, wow, this is a hell of a performance.
the I think it would have been. I don't know. I think they just could have done better with the CGI because, or work with ILM a little bit more because I'm thinking about like K2SO in
What's that?
in Rogue One the
The
droid.
right
That's
there.
all CG, and that looked real.
Enough.
Like because that's
It did,
just
yeah. That was a great
that's Alan
CGI
Tudyk
job.
in a on a stilts in a green suit.
Did y'all like
think they-
And you wouldn't even know.
Steppenwolf's CGI improvement?
No,
I
like-
did.
I like how he looked bigger and more demeaning than he did in the first one, but I didn't
Yeah.
like his suit, and I hate his face. His body is.
Oh, you hate his face?
I hate his
Hold
face.
up. You like the old face better?
I like a lot of the old Steppenwolf better, but I
Oh,
dislike
wow.
that he is this big. His whole face. Look at my face. This is where his face is, right here. This.
I
big-
liked his look. Like I felt like his
Yeah.
old face was on some like Power Rangers villain
Well, I'll
type.
say there's
That's true.
problems with both of them, but I dislike how tiny his.
Yeah, the main thing I like about that is he looked more alien in this one. In the
Yeah.
first one, he looked like some old dude. I'm like,
You know what?
Well, he didn't.
I
He
don't
just
know.
looked like a
The old Steppenwolf.
B-list video game character.
Wow.
Nah, it looked like the CG in that Beowulf.
I'm
Ooh.
sorry.
From Rob Zemeckis Beowulf.
Yeah,
I think.
I just like his facial expression when he told Doomsday the good news, and then Doomsday's like, "You still owe me like 50,000 planets."
yeah.
It's like-
Yeah. I like his
I
armor
guess
too,
that's-
though. Like,
movie.
I like
That's the
that
thing
armor.
for
It
me.
was
I
shimmering and
understood
moving.
more why he was there. Like
Yeah,
the look, the armor was kind of strange. It was
I like the armor, yo. The armor
Yeah,
to me
I thought
was
the
fly.
armor was
I was
pretty
like,
cool.
yo,
it was better than it. This his whole
It-
suit was better than the
Yeah,
original.
it felt like
in
advanced
the original
technology.
one. It's like,
Oh,
why
no,
are they
no,
struggling fighting
it
this
was-
dude?
it was definitely an improvement tech wise. The suit was I don't know. I guess it being some, I have to think of it as some like hybrid advanced chainmail because that's kind of what it was.
It looked too much like Ray Fisher's suit to me, especially the color. They were very similar. I don't dislike his suit. I do like him better here. I also felt that in the original version, the Steppenwolf looked a lot like Ares from the first Wonder Woman movie. Like there weren't too many differences between the two of them.
I
But
just like
just
the way his
face
armor.
me so much.
I like how the way the armor just looked like it was alive.
Yeah, and I like the consistency too. Like you said with Ray Fisher, how they look similar. I like that because now I feel like there's a alien technology that we don't understand that they've been able to utilize, and so there's a consistency there that feels like Ray Fisher is the good version of this technology, and Steppenwolf is like the evil version. And this
I hadn't
is the
considered it like that.
physical
That makes sense.
representation.
Can I
Yeah.
say that the budget that went to Cyborg and Steppenwolf's suits was taken away from Martian Manhunter?
Oh, that's clear and apparent.
I did not
I think
like
the majority of the CG budget went into both of those suits.
They
Y'all
gave
didn't like
Martian
Martian?
Manhunter crumbs. His transition from being Martha Kent to being an alien was about as smooth as those sci-fi movies. That was sci-fi movie quality CGI, and I was like, y'all could have done a little bit better than this. From the
Oh,
redness
it's like
of the eyes to I
They
didn't.
did
I
like
Well,
do a
the
cut.
red. I was
They
about to
because
say,
I
cut from
thought
one. It was like
I
no
thought that
morphing that they showed. At
yeah, the
all.
morphing was what kind of took me out. Like the eyes though, I like that because that's
yeah.
true to the comic. Because like that's one of his
I liked his
signature
appearance
things.
though. I thought he
I'm
looked
Yeah,
not
good. He
he's
bothered
looked
by
like
the eyes. It's the
organic.
quality of the CGI of his eyes. It's not as good as.
Yeah, I'm there too. I think it could have been better. I'm not saying that it was a bad look. It just was lacking, and I think they made a good decision to have that transition happen in a dark alley because they could cut corners
well,
on
I
that.
thought he looked way better than the one on Supergirl.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm not aware. I
I'm gonna
hadn't
Google it right
seen
now
any of
because I
Supergirl.
personally am not a fan of the makeup at all. I know that the DC films are dark, but I felt like this makeup was dark and the film is dark, so it was kind of hard to see him. Like even in the scene later where you see him with Batman, I felt like he was such a deeper green. I felt like he should be a little bit more vibrant in color in a way.
Mm.
Just he was
Did y'all
dark
notice the eyeliner on Ray Fisher?
highlighting.
I feel like he had eyeliner. Ray Fisher.
Oh, we did talk
He
about
had to
the
have some
makeup.
makeup.
He
Yeah,
had
we
a lot
did
of
talk
makeup
about the
on,
makeup.
and
I
it's
didn't.
clear that they didn't get it close to his eyes. So you might be seeing more of his natural eyes, especially since his character cried.
Yeah, I almost cried with that. It's like you, oh God, oh no.
Yeah, because like when he crashed the recorder, I was like, oh, he's never gonna hear his dad's last words.
That
But
was tough. That was tough.
and
I was
yeah.
like, yo, he
Martian
is
Manhunter on
he
Supergirl.
is full.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
great.
Supergirl one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that's tough.
I like this better.
Yeah,
You
that's
do?
Sorry,
tough.
I had it too bright. You probably see it better now.
Oh,
I
yeah, that's the
I
Supergirl
like
one.
this better.
Star
You
Trek.
can actually see him, and he's really difficult to see in this film. And
I like this one though too. In Martian Manhunter, like, yeah, I didn't.
Oh, yeah,
Me
he was
personally, I didn't have
when he showed up at the end at Bruce's compound.
Did y'all notice Ben Affleck's size difference in that ending scene?
Yeah, well, that's a reshoot.
little.
Yeah, he was like he shrunk. Like, damn, he sweated.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the original Sweden cut, he was kind of like a little bit heavier, but he had just like the muscle suit over him. It didn't
well,
really match.
he had put on muscle mass for the Batman role, so he could be wider, really, and more physical. Because that's what I did like about the Batman, the Ben Affleck casting, is because he physically is closer to Batman in the comics than any of the other actors that we've gotten who've played him.
The captain's log. I liked how the sod looked. I liked how they introduced him and they had him coming through the rock. But once seeing him outside of the rock next to Darkseid, I thought they looked very similar. I didn't like image wise; they didn't look very different. And in the animated series, he looks more humanoid, but not that he needed to look human here since he's an alien. I felt like the side and Darkseid looked too similar, and I wish they were different, especially the texture of their skin and things like that.
I
think
also
they're the
felt like
same
Darkseid
species.
should have been worked on a little bit more. But
Who is the dude with the staff in that scene?
Was that a man or a woman?
That was a woman. Oh, that's
Oh.
what I want to speak on that too. Why was there a
Goddess-
humanoid right there?
that was like
I don't
Goddess
know, but
Granny.
Goddess
I think her
Granny.
name is
I didn't know.
Goddess Granny, but I don't have no idea who she is. But
Oh,
We
the
need to
granny.
know
That's the
Goddess
granny.
Goddess Granny.
Okay. Why wasn't she older? She was much older in the comic.
She had white
Right.
hair to me. She didn't just look blonde. She looked like she had white hair. She was giving Devil Wears Prada.
She looked like about 50, but Granny in the comic was about 70.
I could have sworn I thought it was the
Granny Goodness.
or Goodness Goddess Granny.
Granny
Goodness.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Granny
Granny
that's right.
Goodness.
How old is she in those comics?
Oh yeah, she way older than what we saw.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I saw that woman, and Granny Goodness did not come to mind. I was like, "Who is this human?"
I didn't.
Beside all these aliens,
I thought that was it looked like Benicio del Toro's character, the Collector, in
Oh,
that's,
you know what?
that's why I thought it was a man. Like I didn't know. I did not know that was a
All
woman.
right, this is what she looks like in what we saw.
Yeah, she did not look like that.
She didn't look like
Nope.
that. That
Not look
So?
like that. They should have cast.
maybe I need to go look at that again, but that
they
did
wanted her to
not look like that.
This is what I saw.
Oh, they should have cast
sometimes it
the
looks like
lady
she-
from
Yo, that's funny. He said, "Auntie Goodness."
Okay, so see how here, like Decide looks more human. He doesn't. That's Decide and Granny Goodness. Decide doesn't look like that.
like
and
Gargamel.
also just
They
You know
they,
what?
they
The
both
only-
look very
yeah.
different.
Decide. I didn't really. I was like, Decide looks really simple, but I feel like he looks similar to Darkseid. So I'm like, okay, they come from
No.
like maybe the
I
same
got more like Skeletor vibes.
species or something. I don't know, but I like.
That's where I
like
went.
that
I was
part.
like, oh, they're the same species because they look different than Steppenwolf.
Yeah,
But he
But they-
and Darkseid look very similar to me. Darkseid was
Yeah.
just taller and bigger.
yeah.
But I was
they
like,
look
oh,
like
maybe
would
they look.
be-
Yeah. They're about the same. They're two.
It made sense
of
for
same
the
species.
classism that they had between them and
in the
Steppenwolf.
comics, Decide looks much more human. Not that he is human, but he looks more humanoid than he does in the Snyder cut. And I don't know. He looked too similar to me. I didn't like that, and it still bothers me the way that he was talking to him. Like in the comics and in the animated series, he gets buck with him a couple times, and then Darkseid is like, "Who are you talking to? Like, who do you think you are?" And he was real, just testy with me, with Darkseid, and I didn't like that.
You saying Decide was testy with Darkseid?
Yes, Decide was in the.
Oh, you know what?
When
At
He
the
was like,
end.
"I told you
That-
so."
Yeah, that
Right.
I told you so moment.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "He about to die."
Right.
It's like, yo,
Yeah.
Darkseid about to punch his head off or something. I don't know.
I was about to know Mega Beams again.
Now, I'm not completely familiar with Darkseid's all of his abilities. So, can someone enlighten us?
It's 10 times stronger than Ultron with the
Yeah,
gauntlet.
and the Mega Beams are pretty much
Thanos.
You said
undodgeable.
he's 10 times stronger than Thanos with the gauntlet.
No, Thanos doesn't have a chance against Darkseid. It's
Not
like
even-
no comp.
The gauntlet
So,
will
I think-
work against him.
Yeah, I think Donovan told me that Darkseid has to use an avatar because he's too powerful, and if he
Oh,
enters a universe
That's
with
one
his
of the,
true form, it'll destroy the universe. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's like one of the canon things where like that version is just pretty much like an avatar, so he like stays in his own realm.
10 times stronger than Thanos with the
Maybe
gauntlet.
more than
What is that? How do you beat that?
Yeah,
What is
we
Superman?
haven't seen. Well, I mean, Superman is. You need someone like that to even compete with Superman because
But like
we haven't
it's
even seen Sun. We haven't even seen the Sun God version of Superman. Like, because doesn't he go into the sun for like a couple?
Oh, Superman Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then he comes back out like with a gold suit and is basically
yeah, that's Superman Prime.
unstoppable.
That was just I don't know who greenlit that. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not like he needed
Basically,
more
he
power,
destroyed.
but, like,
Yeah,
so like, but where does Darkseid get? Like, why is he 10 times as strong? Like, where's that? Like, where does he get his power? Where's that from?
That I don't know.
he's not
Yeah,
from
he's-
this dimension. He's
Yeah.
an other dimensional being. Like who in Marvel would you compare him to?
I mean his whole purpose
Maybe-
is to conquer
Maybe Galactus.
everything.
Galactus. Okay, that's
Maybe
who I
on-
expect to see
On that scale,
in these Marvel shows is Galactus.
yeah. Nah, goodness. When,
I hope so.
When will we see
They need
Galactus?
to
We
bring
won't see
up
Galactus
Galactus.
until they introduce the
11.
Fantastic Four.
We won't see Galactus. We'll see Silver Surfer before we see Galactus.
Absolutely. That Silver Surfer that's going to be the key because that's when we'll know who's coming.
'Cause technically, like,
We're
they're
going to get
coworkers.
Kang. We're going to get Kang first, and then I feel like that will lead to a Silver Surfer appearance, and then we'll know it's like, oh man, we're definitely in for it now.
Yeah, but DC with this movie, I feel like for me, their reputation was saved, and I'm interested and excited to see the standalone movies for these Justice League characters, and I want to see another Justice League movie.
I do worry that we should not get ourselves excited because Warner Brothers knew that they had this movie in stuff and they decided to
Facts.
do the original version anyway. So we can't be surprised if these same people still say tomorrow that this film is not canon and we are continuing with the Justice League setup that was set up by the 2017 theatrical cut.
Corporate sabotage.
I agree with that, Amani, because I mean
That
they
would
even
be
said
it.
in January that there was no plans for sequels to this, and that this version of the Justice League is not canon. And I believe they've also said that once it's done its run on HBO Max, like it's not gonna, they won't show it again. So when it's not gonna be up on HBO Max for forever.
So we're gonna do a screen report.
Bootleg it while you can.
I actually was saying this the other day because this actually was supposed to be an HBO Max exclusive and it was supposed to stay on here. I think from the success of it, they will either say, yo, we need to figure out a way to make money off of this. So let's pull it so that people can go watch it in the movie theaters once outside opens. Or they're going to say, we're still going to pretend like this movie doesn't exist and we're going to pull it so that you can never see it on our platform again.
Wow.
It's going to be one of those two things. I don't expect this movie
I
to
think it's going to be the
forever.
latter.
That would be so crazy. Like, so are y'all familiar with Snyder's vision of where he was going to take the story?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that he said Bruce and Lois have an affair.
That was wild. Yeah, so when
like
Superman dies,
well,
out
that's
of grief,
alarming.
The two come together. They form a romantic relationship. And that boils over into the feud between Batman and Superman in Nightmare Future. Lois dies.
And then they use the quantum
Batman
equation on Superman, and then that's
Darkseid uses anti-life equation on Superman to control him, and that's where you get that Nightmare Future scene at the end.
And also, I think, doesn't Lois die because Batman didn't kill the Joker or something like that?
So Lois dies because Batman hesitated. So we don't know what that hesitation is about, but that was the general theme. He hesitates. Because he does that, Lois dies, and because she dies, Nightmare Future ensues. And in Batman vs Superman, when Flash comes back, he's warning Bruce about that moment.
So you think he said save Lois?
I think it's I think what I thought, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he has a choice, like he has to choose to save Lois and someone else or something else, and he chooses the other thing over Lois, and that leads to her death. And when Superman finds out, is when somehow I don't know if Darkseid is already in the equation, but once he finds out that basically Bruce made the decision not to save her, it enables Darkseid to use the anti-life equation on Superman and turn him into one of his agents. Yeah,
I don't know about that, but I just know that from what I read in that interview Snyder had, it was some type of argument that him and Lois had, Lois and Bruce, where they were like conflicting on something, and it leading into Bruce hesitating on making some type of decision, which resulted in Lois's death.
Yeah,
but
no,
that would be
Lois
a wild nightmare.
Lois
future.
Is pregnant.
Yeah, Lois is pregnant with Superman's baby.
Yeah, we see the
that
pregnancy
baby
test at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and so how it was supposed to play out in the final arc of the Justice League story, Bruce rights his wrong, and instead of Lois dying, he dies. And then Lois and Superman's child grows up, and they decide for him to be the new Batman. So Superman and Lois Lane's son becomes the new Batman at like 20 years old or something like that.
And I believe Robin is already dead. It was Batman's inaction on behalf of Robin that got Robin killed, and I think they hit on that in the Suicide Squad movie.
They hit on that at the end of the Snyder cut too.
Yeah, well, yeah, they definitely it stated plain and clear at the end in that epilogue that Joker killed him.
Captain's log, according to Screen Rant, that is Yalan Gur, the first Green Lantern, who was a Green Lantern when Darkseid was still Uxas, or whatever, however we say it, spelled Uxas. I've been trying to pronounce that for days. I can't get it together. But that's before he was Darkseid.
That's good.
Uxas? Uxas. Uxas?
UXAS.
UCAS?
UXI.
It's probably so simple. And when I hear it,
Yeah, that's one I definitely need to hear pronounced. By whoever wrote that needs to. I need to hear them pronounce.
You
that.
might be able to pronounce it as UX,
Like you asked.
like UX,
You
like
saw
Christmas,
you saw
Christmas, XAS.
All right. Well,
UCAS?
we're hour and 40 in to this review. You guys got anything else we want to talk about? Anything else we want to cover before we start to close it?
The new Gordon, that was pretty dope seeing.
Yeah.
Isn't he the same editor in chief of the Daily Bugle from the Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
What's the actor's name? Gosh.
He was in Oz and he was in Whiplash. I forget. It's there, but I can't.
In the Amazon Prime show, he plays like two different guys from different.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simmons. Why couldn't I remember that? Thank you.
He plays a great dad.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah.
Like really good actor. It's like it's wild that he actually he does these types of roles, because it's really not. He's a high caliber actor, so to see someone of his caliber in these types of roles is always interesting, because he's not a main character. He's a tertiary character. He just pops in and out for a few scenes, and it's always cool when actors of that caliber kind of will lend their talent to something like this.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the paycheck is good, but it's still the fact that he's done it is good. Like to see it. J. Jonah Jameson.
I will say
that's a great name, by the way.
This movie has not made me less excited to see the Batman. I'm still excited for that film.
I think that's going to be a great movie.
Yeah. It worries me because now we have the Snyder Cut, which is great. And I'm pretty sure the Batman is going to be great. So we're going to have two completely different stories, different universes coming out of the same camp that are good. Like, it's one thing when the Justice League was bad. Okay, fine. I'm excited to see another Batman movie, and it's going to be great. This is awesome. But now we have two. So I'm worried about that, but I don't think the Batman is going to be bad at all. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. I think the way the tone feels in that movie, I think they got it right.
Yeah.
My gripe is with that movie is that it's not canon. Like, not that it's like the tone and everything of it is wonderful, canon. But it's not canon, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's gonna be good, but it almost makes it like, why am I even going to watch it? Because even if, like, let's say I go and watch it and I love it, like, I'm hyping myself up for no reason, because it doesn't count towards the story.
We said that before we watched the Snyder Cut. It's the same thing. As of right now, the Snyder Cut is not canon. All this great stuff that we just spoke about is not canon.
Yeah, it never happened.
So
never.
But
happened.
it did. But you saw it, so
yeah,
it was real.
Yeah, but as
to
far
me,
as
canon is vernacular, semantics.
Until they go and start writing stories and not continue this storyline, and we don't see any more of it. Like there's still a Flash movie on the docket. There was a Cyborg movie on the docket. We have no idea what the status of that is at current. We were supposed to get a Batman Ben Affleck trilogy. That's been removed. We were going to get some more Superman stuff. That's taken off the table. Actually Superman's getting rebooted completely. Batman's getting rebooted. We'll have two different versions of Batman because it's
the main reboot is going to be the Batman Beyond story.
Right. So that's
that makes sense.
DCEU.
Yeah.
So but another Wonder Woman movie, another Aquaman movie, but tone wise, they're not going to continue with this Snyder tone and what he's laid out in this cut is all going to be using the same Whedon formula. So minus the Batman movie, that's the only one that's not going to feel like the Josh Whedon version of Justice League.
Do y'all think the DC
which is why I also feel like why they
R-rated vibe?
This movie,
just if the character calls for it, then
yeah. Like this, I don't think that the aim was to make an R-rated movie. I just feel like they wrote the story and that story got an R rating. And I think that that's always should be the approach. Like you shouldn't aim to make an R-rated movie. Tell the story, and if it's R-rated, then live with that rating. Like don't change the story because you got an R rating or a PG-13 rating or whatever you got. Like tell the best story possible and then just let the rating be what it is.
Speaking on ratings, I'm gonna somehow make this relate to our conversation, but it's completely unrelated right now. Robin Williams created a PG-13, rated R, PG-13, rated R, and NC-17 versions of Mrs. Doubtfire. And one of the actresses confirmed that she doesn't know anything about NC-17, but she says we absolutely did make a rated R version of the movie. They filmed enough stuff for it to be rated R.
I saw that on Twitter today.
I'm pretty sure there's like thousands of takes of him just.
I gotta look this up.
Robin
Williams is my top 5.
He's in my top 3.
So I said that.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't know for sure if his goal was to create a different version of a different version with each different rating, but it's clear if a movie is just being made, just make the movie and decide with the rating where it fits later. I don't know. I feel like Deadpool proved that people will get out and watch rated R films. Was Logan rated R?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like we will go watch these films. Dads will take their children to go see these movies. My father took me to go see rated R films. My dad took my little brother to go see Watchmen. He didn't know it was going to be like that. The Watchmen film. Yeah. And my dad had to apologize after because he was like, no, I didn't know the movie was going to be like that. That's just proving like dads don't even look at ratings when they buy tickets anyway.
They don't. Our dad took us to see some what's his name, Donovan? The Siege 2.
Oh yeah,
Steven Seagal movie. We were like 3-4 years old.
Yeah, I saw Blade. I saw Blade very young. I don't know. I didn't see it in theaters, but I definitely saw that when it came out.
Blade's not that
back when theaters didn't. As long as you was with an adult, they didn't stop you.
Dad's like, yeah, we're gonna go see the movie.
There was an entire bloodbath scene at the beginning of the movie. That is the intro.
Dad would be like, yo.
It's not the worst R, but it is definitely an R.
At the end of the movie, Dad would be like, don't tell your mother you saw that. And that's it. That's how it ends. We good. That's it. Mommy never knows that we're all right.
I ended up telling my mama.
Of course.
I think it was like accident.
It was an accident. It was out of excitement.
It was like,
got chopped off.
We went about
it was like a knife fight.
The knife fight did it. Yeah, she juked me.
But yeah, I mean that's that's all I got.
That's all I got. I want to watch it again, and I think
I-
I do too, man. I want to watch it again.
Are they going to release this like a physical form, or is this only going to be on streaming?
No, only on HBO Max, and they said once they take it off HBO Max,
They pulling it.
we never
Gotta
seen it
bootleg
again.
it.
Oh, Cody! Shout out to Amazon Fire Stick if you got that. I'm sure it's already on there.
Yeah, that would be that's one way you can definitely watch it.
What was y'all's favorite scene in this movie?
For me, them all uniting and working as a team.
Wonder Woman bank scene, or not the bank scene, the where she was with the kids and with the.
That was dope. That was a dope scene. I like that scene.
Oh,
That
crazy
when
cold
her, Aquaman, and Cyborg, they did like some type of triple team move on Steppenwolf,
After
and it
Superman
ended with
shows
Wonder
up,
Woman decapitating them. I jumped off the couch. I was like, "Yo, that's."
So that end sequence when they threw his body in there, and then they standing there looking like, yeah, we got Earth, and Darkseid is just sitting there. It was like with
tough.
yeah, that was a good scene too.
Yo, you know, and you know what's wild about that scene is when they use that same leap that Wonder Woman has, where she's going to cut his head off.
But she was breaking the axe.
She's breaking the axe instead of
Why?
chopping his head off, and it's like, for what?
Why was
No,
what?
that's
Because in this
Okay.
scene, like Superman, he uses his ice breath, and then he just breaks the axe with his hand, and then starts going to town on it.
Why did they cut that in the original film? That's my favorite part. Well, Wonder Woman. Okay, Wonder Woman is number one. But Superman using the ice breath, and just tapping the axe for it to break. Come on.
That makes sense, right? It's like, okay, he could do that.
He could do that.
Like everything just made the way Batman was fighting, it made sense. Like, okay, he don't have superpowers, but he's out here moving right now. Accuracy.
Yeah, that sequence when he is going through the city, and he does, like, when he's in the Batmobile and he's like, they blow it up and he jumps out and he uses a grappling hook and he swings and like then he's moving through and dodging the blast. It looks completely crazy, but it's definitely some Batman moves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
everyone's fighting style is distinct.
I was like, yes, that's Batman. Yeah, exactly.
I felt like I was in Injustice 2, the video game, the way they were fighting. Like I felt like I was watching somebody play a game, the way they were doing these moves.
Yeah. I think, damn, what is my favorite scene?
The Flash going back in time might be my favorite scene.
It's so many. Like, it's really hard to pick one. My top three. Gosh, it would be the definitely the because there's some good moment scenes, but the bank scene or is the museum scene with Wonder Woman, that's up there. The Flash scene,
her intro, that was her intro.
Yeah, her intro scene, because that was way better than her intro in the original. The Flash at the end, when he's using the Speed Force to travel faster than the speed of light to reverse time, which is great. And the moment when Victor's father dies, when he sacrifices himself, like, that was a great moment.
Yeah,
to me, it's tragic, but it was a good like it was just like, because it's
you saw
everything
fall
coming full
apart,
circle.
like, ooh, getting broken down, like, ooh, radiation. Ooh.
Does Steppenwolf die? I'm trying to see. Does he die or does he just run away?
Steppenwolf dead.
No.
His head.
No. She's talking in the Whedon cut. In the Whedon cut. No, they after they destroy the mother boxes, the parademons, like,
yes, they take him away because they sense fear.
So, was that it?
Yes. So you don't actually see him die. You just see him get carried away by the parademons.
He just gets carried away like this is Looney
Corporate
Tunes.
sabotage. I'm telling you, man. Nothing else makes sense.
Like, that movie was atrocious. So I'm so glad to have finally seen the actual vision of what Zack Snyder wanted to execute with the Justice League. Love how it tied all of the movies up to that point together. Like if you just go back to 2016, 2017 with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and then the upcoming Wonder Woman movie, like all of it ties together, even Aquaman 1, all of it. You see how it sets up all of that, and then how it also sets up all of the sequels for Justice League, and sets up Ezra Miller and Flash in his movie, and it also sets up a Cyborg movie. Like, it does all of that. It's very foundational, and it delivers like great character moments. Everyone has a moment to shine in this movie. I don't feel like there's any moments where it's wasted. Like, everyone feels important. Everyone has their moment in the sun. And we get enough time with each of these characters to really allow them to grow on us. Like, we understand their motivations, and we can appreciate them and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I can dig that.
This was a great film.
Also, it was pretty cool seeing the Frank Miller Batmobile.
That was dope.
Yeah,
the Frank Miller Batmobile. That was dope.
I'm still waiting for Hot Wheels to make that at a
Shout out to Frank
1/18
Miller.
scale.
Oh, that also that in the final act, them fixing the Flash's his scene, like, and them taking out the random people that were living in a nuclear disaster site. Like, I don't know why.
And not have cancer.
That made absolutely no sense to me when I saw it. Like,
I got
there was a family in there.
Corporate
like, what?
Sabotage.
Oh, by the way, it's toxic. That's good. That little thing of Steppenwolf first getting there, that's gonna be a meme tomorrow on social media. I'm telling y'all. It's already.
No, it already is.
Oh.
It already is.
Yeah, that's a meme right there.
So I saw it. Someone they had tweeted, like, logs into Twitter for first time, and then it was a screenshot of that, and it's toxic here.
Toxic.
It's good.
It's already a mess. But
Oh man.
I think that's all I have for today. Are you ready?
Did y'all cover the sponsors for tonight?
No, who's sponsoring us? You
I didn't have any sponsors.
Who got you? Oh, Carmex.
Hey man.
Can't be Ashley lipped out here.
Can be actually lipped out here. Gotta stay moisturized.
Who are the glasses by?
A tech company. I can't say the name. Conflict of interest.
Got you.
Oh. Conflict of interest. That's great.
I'm screaming.
Oh man.
That's it. Just Carmex. That's all we got.
That's it. That's all we got tonight.
For next week, we have the community discussion. It's the last Saturday in Women's History Month. So we're gonna finish out our best women villainesses, or best villainesses. I guess villainesses, female. In movie and TV, whatever. And this movie is inspiring me, and I don't know if we can do it in a month, but I think for the month of April, Gumbo needs to publish an official superhero film ranking list. So I don't know if we're gonna start by somebody making one and then we'll edit it, but by the end of April, Gumbo should have an official ranking for superhero films. I think we can do
Marvel and DC.
superhero films, period.
All together. Okay. So Blank Man, Meteor Man, all that. Hey, them two gonna be in top 10 regardless. No way. We doing if it's no holds barred, they gotta be in.
All right, maybe. All right, we'll have a conversation about that off camera and.
Oh gosh,
I was screaming. But yeah. Also, 5 years ago not exactly 5 years ago, but on August 6th, 2016, I lost my little brother. He was 19 years old, and today is his 24th birthday. So Louis, I love you. I miss you. I know you're watching me. I know you love the show. You love to talk about these things too. And I miss you. And I hope you watch.
God bless you.
Shout out to Louis. Happy birthday, bro.
Sir. Happy birthday.
Oh yeah, didn't mean to get all sappy on y'all. If you love us and you want to follow us on socials, please at Certified Gumbo on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. If you love us and you would love to support us, please buy us some coffee. The link is in the description box below. If you love this conversation and you would love to engage with us, we talk about these things all day. I said it yesterday. The topic of the Discord right now is March Madness brackets. Everybody is all jacked up. Please join us on Discord to talk with us. We love y'all and thank you for watching.
Yes. No Star Wars Sunday tomorrow. That is just TBA till we get some actual news to talk about. But I will be making more videos to post to the channel about Star Wars and Star Wars content, so you can look forward to that. My goal right now, my plan is to get a video out by Wednesday of this week. So be on the lookout for that. If you're looking for more Star Wars content, Star Wars related content, we will also be back next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to review episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you haven't,
great show.
Yes. And if you haven't seen our episode 1 review, that is on the channel. You can go back and watch that now. If you feel so inclined to do so. If you want more of us, you know what I'm saying, you can go back and watch that. We did that last night.
Real quick, Godzilla vs. Kong drops on Hbo Max on Thursday.
Oh, bad. So we're gonna talk about that.
It's a great time
Saturday.
To be alive.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that one on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
what else we got?
We also have, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
I don't know. I might start reading horror stories, narrating them live.
I would love
that.
If we want to do that, right here, YouTube, baby,
Reading it live, is this gonna be like
interactive,
live streaming,
live interactive? You can stop me and be like, "What would you do?" I don't know. I'm just
okay.
Freestyling right now.
I'm interested.
You said it on camera, so now you got to do it.
Oh wow!
You said it live. You said it live.
We'll do one episode and then we'll go from there.
I can dig it.
So I guess we have that to look forward to at some point in the near future, maybe. But hey, great episode. Thank you all for joining us. We very much appreciate the support and continue to we'll continue to provide great content as long as we can. Hopefully we can do this for a very, very long time and continue to grow. That is the goal. So that's all I got to say. And as I always close, peace, love, and blessings. And may the force be with you always.
Peace.